We were told to pay some money as development levy for, I think I heard for...
Is that normal?
Why, again, it's a new party. Because you have the party in government now that are not doing anything from day one. They were starting up money for the next election. How do you face them? Those were the issues they had in Labour Party. There was no money, that even some of the agents were not paid. Individuals like us volunteered and paid agents. I don't think they want a repeat of that. They want to have the money for agents and basically for everything they need to do. And how will you raise that money? They have to be from the party members. So I think I heard for the House of Assembly was 5 million development levy. Nobody was forced. The House of Reps, House of Assembly 5 million, House of Reps 10 million, and the Senate 20 million. I paid 20 million. How many votes can Showore take from Tinubu?
Okay.
How many can the SGP guy, who I like him a lot?
Yeah.
How many votes can he take from Tinubu? Then talking about the South and the Southeast. Again, let's emphasize it is a free and fair election that's not monetized. Peter Obi any day will win the Southeast and the South. Any day. Now you have the middle belt. I'm not talking about so much of the North Central, the middle belt. Those ones are not likely to vote for Atiku. You can talk about the core North.
This is Niger Unfiltered on SYMFONI TV. My name is Olawale Oluwade, and my guest today is Honorable Sergius Ogun, former House of Representatives member, 8th and 9th National Assembly. Honorable, welcome once again to our show.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. There's a lot happening, so we don't have more time. Let's get right into our conversation. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave a speech on June 12, Democracy Day. And Nigerians have, variously critiqued, that speech from being detached and not, dealing with the realities, lacking accountability for unfulfilled promises, failing to address worsening national security. So, let me put you on the spot. Give us an assessment of the Tinubu administration in 3 years. It was 3 years, May 29th. On insecurity, the economy, whether it has deepened or worsened democracy. Give us your assessment.
Well, they haven't done well. And I'm not the only one saying that. Every Nigerian knows that clearly. If you remember when the Chibok girls were kidnapped, that was 2014, they made a heavy weather of it. They used it. Then they were opposition. They made it a campaign tool. Send people, lobbyists abroad and everything. I remember the now president, then the leader of APC then, going to Borno, went to see the governor, the now vice president. They went to a market in Borno, and then people were shocked. And Jonathan had not visited Borno then. I guess his security chiefs told him that the place is not safe. They went to a market in Borno to say, look, our commander-in-chief has not even come here, but we are here, we are on ground. That was all politics. Of course, eventually Jonathan went there. It was all politics. Today, they say we should not discuss it. So when I'm saying this to say they have failed completely, security-wise, you cannot protect the people. Section 14(2)(b), the most quoted these days of the Constitution, states clearly, security and welfare shall be the primary purpose of government. Shall. So if you have failed in that, then you have failed completely. Section 1(1) says the Constitution is supreme. So you have failed to provide security for the people. Then no well-being. That's the welfare in that section 14. No well-being of the people. Today, most Nigerians go to bed hungry. There's no light. They claim they are doing infrastructure. Some of us cannot go to our villages because of terrible roads. So I don't see where I can score them to have achieved anything. Is it in inflation? Then how many investors will really come into this country today? Besides all the security issues. Corruption is at its highest level ever. And that's what APC campaigned with in 2014. They said so much about corruption, but today nobody's even talking about it. Because the late President Buhari failed woefully. And then he has come now, the present president, he's not even saying anything about fighting corruption. Of course he knows he can't say it. Because we are Nigerians, we can see what is going on. So I don't see what to... Maybe somebody will say, okay, because you are in opposition, you can't see it. I can't see it. If I can, I will say, yes, he has done well here. Okay, maybe let me just give him a little pass mark. A little, maybe P8 or is he whatever. In the oil and gas industry, that's my own industry. I think he has, let me say because of his policies, maybe he has opened up that space. Now we have a lot of rigs drilling in Nigeria. Maybe the last time we were counting almost 60, and I think about almost 2,500 oil wells and all. So, yeah, I would say maybe for that, there's a glimmer of hope that things will happen, but where is the oil? In 2005, we did almost 2.5 million barrels per day. Maybe subsequently 2.3, 2.2 and all. Today we are spending billions on private contractor to monitor for surveillance contract. We are spending billions, maybe even trillions. And last time we were paying legacy debt. They paid 1.5 trillion. And we can't even do 2 million barrels. So what is the matter? So with all that he has done, yeah, it takes a while anyway, but that's the challenge. And like Peter Obi said the other time, those stealing crude oil are within governments, or the government knows them. It's not like a bottle of Coke that you put in your pocket. Absolutely correct. So as much as I'm trying to give him a pass mark there, because of the security issues associated with oil theft, he has almost cancelled that whatever credit I was going to give to him. So I cannot say I will give him a pass mark anywhere in the last 3 years.
Okay. The counter arguments of government spokespersons and even the president himself is that they've from the abolition of the subsidy regime, they've been able to earn more revenues and give so much money to states. Of course, all of us witness that states now earn so much money. What the 3 tiers of government share has improved, increased significantly. Second, as we speak here, they are celebrating accretion, of forex into our foreign external reserves. As we speak, it's about $50 billion, so they are jubilating and celebrating that. Also, they would also say macroeconomics in terms of inflation rate has come down and all of this. They've stabilized the exchange rate of the naira to the dollar to about 1,400 naira to a dollar. Never mind that when they took over, it was about 600 or 400. But are these not successes? Are these not achievements?
No. Okay, let me start from where now? From the subsidy, let's visit that again. In 2012, because I think they are saying now, sorry, the Minister of Defense, I think on platform over the weekend, was saying that he's not saying that people should not protest, but they should be careful so that people don't hijack it. The same thing that happened in 2012, when Jonathan took out subsidy. And the main reason then, price of oil wasn't bad, but it was over $100 then. But there was a report on subsidy payment that showed that they were paying, the Nigerian government paid so much on demurrage, the vessels that brought the product, and so many other costs. So he had to bite the bullet then to take out subsidy. As we remember clearly then, the president today was leading the charge then to stop the removal. There was protest everywhere. What we heard then was a top labor union leader that told me this, that Jonathan, for fear of the military taking over, buckled and allowed them to just remove certain amount of money and then still left the subsidy. So now they are saying people should not protest so that other people will not hijack it. But the same reason Jonathan did it then. So the point I'm trying to make is, if he was not right in 2012, why is he right today? Because I don't see any reason why I should give the credit to him or celebrate him for bad behavior. To me, it's bad behavior. Because it was political. There was nothing good in it as long as he was not the one taking that decision. So he led us away from quality decision over 11 years ago. So why is this suddenly right? Now, why? So I can't give him any credit there. Talk about the dollars. Because the same reasons they gave. Because of the corruption around it. The same reason Jonathan gave them. The same reason he gave today. So talk about the dollars. When Jonathan was in government, it was around 140 naira, 150 naira to the dollar. Because Amide and gas industry, we earned 70, then we were earning 70% in dollars and 30% in naira. Later they moved it to 60-40. So I was earning dollars. So it gets to a certain level where we had to spend more naira, we changed. So I knew the exchange rate then. It's not a story that somebody would tell me. Then, because of all the tension going into that election in 2015, it started sliding because people were selling naira to buy dollars to leave the country. Some of the companies were taking their money out, capital flight. And then what happened? It went to about 190, 92 naira to the dollar. Then Buhari came in, the managed it started going up. So this parity you're talking about that this present government has closed now, should it be something to commend him for? He said he is Buhari. He said, Emilio Con is my turn now. I brought Buhari. So whatever we are saying, we should go back to 2015, not 2023. So I don't see any achievement there. They are talking about inflation. Yeah. Inflation was single digit under Jonathan. When they took over, it was single digit. So if you ever went to 35% and then you have rebased and now you are now saying it's 15%, we should clap for you. But we haven't even felt it. We are not feeling it in our pockets.
What's your view on the insecurity that we face now? Link it with the death of the Major General in captivity.
It's horrible. It's horrible to think about 7 generals and retired generals being killed like this. I don't think this will happen anywhere in this modern world. I don't think so. And that boldness with which they are killing them, they are going to schools to take children and all. And to think about the fact that this present government is still campaigning. You already saw the first lady talking about buying buses for and then giving cars to women leaders that in states where they don't have governors and all. In a sane country, should that be happening? The president people are putting out billboards and all that. If you remember, was it last year or 2 years ago? No, maybe it was last year when Donald Trump talked about sending Marine here, gun blazing. That was when they removed all the billboards. So they were already everywhere. The truth is, from when this president was sworn in, they were campaigning for the next election. From when he was sworn in, I'm not exaggerating. Because you know he was sworn in on the 29th. We were still meeting then because our own session was supposed to finish in June, or finishes usually in June. You know, we were still meeting. I used the back gate through the villa to get to the National Assembly. They hung posters on the electricity pole talking about the next election, congratulating him and getting him ready for the next election. Immediately he was sworn in. And he's been campaigned since then. So the point I'm making is, they don't take this thing seriously. They don't. Because if you do, you will have an angle to this. You will have. Okay, it was after that Trump statement, they now said that they were going to fix all their military or security training institutions. If you take your time to go and check, maybe not much has happened there today.
Besides that, sorry to cut you, besides that, we see these bandits on social media displaying huge wads of cash.
It's an industry now. Everybody's benefiting from it. I'll tell you, when the worry crisis started so many years ago, when worried then, one of the oil company staff, who is my friend, told me, it's you and I that are suffering from this insecurity. Because we cannot move out, because there was curfew, then we can't go out. The military at the checkpoints are implementing the curfew, are cleaning out. The state government is cleaning out. The federal government is cleaning out. All the security agents are cleaning out. So it's you and I. That's true. It's an industry, and everybody involved are all cleaning out. That's the truth.
I think we've covered enough on this insecurity issue, and I hope our governments, are listening. and they will take, necessary steps to mitigate this serious crisis that we find ourselves. If they were not taking it serious because of politics or other things, they should take it serious now. Let's switch gears to your party, the National Democratic Congress. You are contesting for
Subsidy.
Senate. Okay. You participated in the primaries of the party.
Yes.
How did it go? Who won in your senatorial constituency?
Well, I don't know if we know, because the last time the national leader was saying, I think he granted a press interview, or was in his studios and said, look, people are talking about we should release our list. The APC did their own 2 weeks before we did, and they have not released their list. That they have channels to do that, to transmit the name to INEC and all. So we're waiting for that. Okay. But for me, it's not an issue.
Okay. The party is facing serious, widespread internal turbulence, which may have led to severe fracturing of the subnational, entities or levels of the party, structure, power tussles here and there, manipulation, allegations of manipulation, and all of this. Can you respond to some of these issues?
Mm-hmm. It's a new party. As you know, I think it was registered in February. And that is how many months? Barely 3 months? March, April, May. Okay, now we're in June, going to 4 months. I think we did the primary in May, so it was barely 3 months then. And Peter Obi joined the party in May. Peter Obi and Kwansiyas. Yeah. That drove up the traffic into the party. And then to manage all these within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to do congresses, to do primaries, is a tough one. So I think whatever problems that we are going through now, we will surmount it. I strongly believe that. I think we just need to have a cool head, because if we say it's our political party, there's no need to pull anybody down. Should be eyes on the ball. So we want to go into an election, maybe in another 3 months or so, we'll start campaigning. And if we don't have a united house, we will not be able to achieve that goal. If we say we want to send the present government out, or to send them packing, we must have a united front to take them out. So I will appeal to everybody to calm down, and then let's focus on the forthcoming campaigns and elections.
I understand your response that the party is new, relatively new, and all of that. But while the party is new, the key players are tested, battle-tested, proven, politicians. The founder and national leader of the party has been in politics as long as some youth, over 35 years or so. He's been national legal advisor of Alliance for Democracy. He's been a House of Reps member. He's been a senator. He's been 2-term governor. So he's a proven and tested politician. He's not new. National chairman, the same. Anyway, here's the question. The founder, Seriake Dixon, has been accused variously of being dictatorial, not allowing the party machinery, the NWC, to function independently. People queue up in his house. They sleep there. I don't know whether you guys have a party headquarters, Is that how a party is functioning? Is that how a party is run? And then address the issue of dictatorial tendency.
Well, he's a simple person, I think. I have not seen him in his pajamas. I've been there in the morning. I've been there in the evenings. He wears casuals, like joggers at home and maybe a T-shirt. The first time we went there, former members of the House of Reps, he was in the plain trousers and a T-shirt in his office. And then when we finished talking to him, he addressed us as we are fellow parliamentarians and all, and then said, okay, let's go and take pictures. He said, is it okay like this, or you should go and change? I felt T-shirt was okay, it's just picture. He said, some of them said, okay, you can go and change. Okay, he's going to change. He went upstairs and just wore a shirt on the plain trousers he was wearing. And then we took pictures. So, but yes, there's an office off Libreville, big place, I also think it's a new party, like I said. Maybe the NWC, where people around him, maybe handpicked and all. Of course, we think that we're going to be Congress, all that will change. He's thinking maybe why most people come to the houses, where they have come to meet him. He knows the NWC people very well. If he wants to invite them to any of those meetings, I'm sure he will invite them. So, but We will get there. We will get. He's seasoned, his experience. They say dictatorial. He's a strong character. That you must know, which I think should be a plus, because we are looking forward to having a party that will not belong to governors or the president. The president will not be the national leader of the party. Neither will the governors be leaders in the state. So we need strong characters that can rein them in to say, look, this is what we believe in this party, and we must follow it. So for that, I won't fault him. About being dictatorial, I don't know, but you know how these things work.
There's an example to leverage on in our political environment. Current President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was national leader of the APC from 2015 when they came into power. And from 2015 to 2023, when it was just that figure, omnibus title that was not grounded in anything, he never meddled in the affairs of the party. I am highly informed politically. I do not know the name of the party chairman of NDC, let alone the national secretary. I don't know. The only person we all know is Sergius Ogun. Is that normal?
Well, we know them. The national chairman is Senator Cleopas, and then the national secretary is Sikena. Well, like I said earlier, it's a new party, and we will come around. If these people, members of the NWC, are the people he handpicked. So, you know how this is work. He believes I can make the decisions. And then when there's any need to bring them in. But like I said, I'm sure we're going to have a Congress this year, or maybe sometime very soon after the general elections. And then some of these things will change. When I said earlier, he's a strong figure. And that comes into play because you want to make all the decisions yourself. But I think he's also learning, because he has said a couple of things outside that looks like an outburst. And then immediately after, they will convene a meeting of NWC or party leaders. And you see him addressing those same meetings, like retracting, saying basically, we should put our house in order, we should look forward to working together, we should not harass the party, we should drag the party and all. So he's learning also.
My dear brother, Honorable Sergius, you are my very good friend. But I have to really take you to task on this issue because it's very important. Would it be wrong to call the NDC a one-man party, a boutique party? What my American friends, when we were in school America, will call a mom-and-pop shop?
I won't say so. But you mentioned the president as a leader of APC. He was also a bit dictatorial. There was a man that was supposed to be the first national chairman of the party from my state. He dropped him. That was the first, really. Yeah. But there was an Ikemi, who practically put together, working with Shomole, put together, was his brainchild, this APC you see today, or how to bring all our opposition parties together. They had to draft the constitution and all that. How to bring the governors together. He did all that. So he was poised to be the national chairman. I think that was a rumor that they said he went to the villa, and people say, we cannot trust him and all that. But what did the man go to the villa to do? It was going to be his 70th birthday. Presidents were going to come from Africa and the other one. So he went to discuss that with Jonathan. Why did you not call the man to say, we saw you in the villa? But you know how it is. Security agents will give that information. So they had people in the villa that will call them to say, we saw such a man here and all that. It's still happening today. We even heard the same national leader you're talking about now was in the villa before the president traveled to Kenya and then Kigali and all. France, Kenya, and Kigali. So we have people that were in the villa, security men that will call and say, this is what is happening here. But he just single-handedly changed that without giving the man the opportunity to explain this is what I went there to do. So he had those tendencies and he carried them out, but we might not know. Even in Buhari's administration, who was Fowler? Head of, the revenue company?
Lagos Inland Revenue and all of that.
The national. And there's so many other appointments. They were all by him from his desk.
As I speak, I have not seen anybody who is the spokesperson, National Public Secretary of NDC. Why is Sergius Ogun the one nominating candidates? Because you contested for elections.
Yes.
We don't have the results. We don't know who won, who has lost. After spending so much, so there's been all kinds of allegations, sundry allegations of bribery, of extortion, of this, of that, frustrations, because people don't know their fate. You also acknowledged here that there's no official results being released. Is that the norm that people go to a party primary, they are winners and losers, but nobody says anything? Because I listened to your founder, Sergius Ogun, say, oh, it is when they write INEC officially that people will know their fate. My brother, can you respond to this?
It's difficult for me to say, because I don't think it's a norm, because coming from a big party like the PDP, I went through 2 screening in that party to win my nomination.
Election victories.
Absolutely. Then I was an aspirant in Labour Party in the off-cycle election. So we didn't have too many people. I think we were like 11 of us that were screened then. It was very easy. Went through, met everybody, asked questions, and then you go. Then for NDC, there was a by-election last year, senatorial election, to replace my governor for my senatorial. I was also involved in that. NDC too, I also met a panel, ask questions and all that. But why the challenge with NDC is the influx, the traffic.
Yes.
Many people moved in, and you know why they moved in there. And they didn't have the personnel to manage this. Screening that was supposed to be about like 3 days or so took how many days? So those are the challenges of manpower and then the experience. So I will cut them some slack because I believe they are struggling. And I also think maybe that's why the national leader is taking all this upon himself. If I were in his shoes, maybe I would get some of the NWC people involved. Yeah, but it depends on it. I don't know whether he doesn't trust their judgment or he's a kind of person that wants results and that I want to be in the forefront of achieving this so that I don't want mistakes. And when you do that, really, you wear yourself out. So those are the initial problems. But I think he will come around, we'll get over this.
You keep saying that. Another issue that has arisen in the past couple of weeks to the glare of Nigerians is that there's a brewing tension, seeming tension, I might add, between founder Sergius Ogun. In fact, that name founder is very alien. Between Sergius Ogun and Peter Obi, your presidential candidate, and the VP, Kwansiyas, because he's come out saying, they only gave them the ticket, he didn't collect a dime from them, and they are not superior to him. In fact, he's the most qualified in Nigeria to be president. It's better he could have been president. Please, what's going on, really?
Well, if you said he's the most qualified, he's correct. He has been a commissioner, I think. Commissioner?
Yeah, commissioner for justice, I think.
He was a policeman first.
Yeah.
Went to read law. Then became a commissioner. Then became House of Rep members 2 times. He became a governor 2 times. Then senator, and this is his 2nd term. So he's very, very qualified. But he's a service senator and has 2 of his former colleagues that were governors. So it's up to him to say, okay, I'm more qualified than this people based on where I'm coming from. There's freedom of speech in this country, Section 39.
Why didn't you go for the president then? Why didn't you contest?
No, I think you have to look at the context in which he said that, well, people are saying all this. I am very qualified to contest as the president, but today I'm not doing that. So as a national leader, I'm also as exposed to how to win an election like the people we have given tickets to today. Depends on the context in which you use that. But like I said, he's a strong character. So you expect some of these things to come to play. But like I said earlier, we'll come around, we'll get used to it, we'll overcome this.
I'm not sure I'm comfortable with this.
Okay, you see, because it's a new party.
It's become a cliche. It's not a new party. I corrected you. I said the name is new, but the individuals, the principal actors, are battle-tested, proven politicians.
Okay, if you talk about maybe there are challenges or issues between him and the presidential candidate and the vice presidential candidate, maybe it's also a situation of he doesn't want them to come and just hijack the party. You see that happens a lot. People come in. If you look at the 2 largest movements in Nigeria today, are the Obidient movement and the Kwansiyas. The two largest. I don't know if you know any other one. In this country today.
Baptist, no, Baptist. They call them Baptist. And then the articulators.
Baptist. Those ones is money now. You buy them with money.
No,
It's money. It's money. Who will be a Baptist today without money? Who will be a Baptist today without money?
Don't they give them money?
No, who is going to give them money? Peter Obi will give you money.
Peter Obi does not give shishi.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. I'm not aware that Peter Obi will send money to somebody to say, for your data.
Yes.
For what you are, he won't do it.
You think so?
I know so. We won a dough. I cannot tell you that Peter Obi sent money. I know an aspirant in that election, 2023 election, that was complaining that money was given. They said 200 million was sent to him as a senatorial candidate. And then the then chairman, Abure, took the money. I said, but I'm not so sure. I didn't hear that. Then somebody that was an aspirant in Edo South said it's not correct. I'm using it. She was an aspirant, and that when they even went to Abuja for a meeting with Peter Obi, they were not even giving a bottle of water. Then when people were now protesting to say, look, we're not even talking about food now. Not even a bottle of water has been given to us here. Peter Obi told them he was also invited like they were invited. Then shortly after that, they shed water. No transport, no nothing.
We'll talk about the obedience and the Kwansiyas and the rest later, but let's finish on this founder, candidates issue. Let me ask you, did anybody collect? Because Seriake Dixon said he is doing Peter Obi and Kwansiyas a favor. It's not the other way around. They are not due because it's like the obedience and Peter Obi and the rest, Kwansiyas, they are carrying on like they are doing the NDC a favor. In fact, I hear some of the NDC people saying they were the ones that made NDC popular. They brought NDC to prominence. And don't forget, that was the same argument. They had this problem in ADC. So, Seriake Dixon said, no, I didn't collect any money from, not a dime. I said it over and over again. Let me ask you, is that correct? That Peter Obi did not drop any money? But, importantly, did you pay money to anybody? Either expression of course, you paid expression of, but did you give any other money?
No. We were told to pay some money as development levy. Is
that normal?
Why, again, it's a new party. Because you have the party in government now that are not doing anything from day one. They were starting up money for the next election. How do you face them? Those were the issues they had in Labour Party. There was no money, that even some of the agents were not paid. Individuals like us volunteered and paid agents. I don't think they want a repeat of that. They want to have the money for agents and basically for everything they need to do. And how will you raise that money? It has to be from the party members. If you ask an ordinary member today who is struggling to join the party, who is struggling to survive this Tinubu economy, to pay 1,000 naira each, they might not be able to afford it. So I think I heard for House of Assembly was 5 million development levy. Nobody was forced. The House of Reps, House of Assembly 5 million, House of Reps 10 million, and the Senate 20 million. I paid 20 million. I wasn't forced.
My brother, I didn't know you have such money too.
I wasn't forced to do that.
Are you saying you are not forced because you want to please, you don't want them to take your victory away from you?
They also told me, because somebody had told me that went through the screening that he paid this amount of money. I actually heard my opponent paid 5 million.
But, Honorable, if anybody pays 5 million for House of Assembly, 10 million, and then 20 million for Senate, I don't know how much governor, maybe 50 million, and then eventually you are denied the ticket, will that person not feel aggrieved? And rightfully so.
Yes. After the screening, I think they finished the screening on Sunday or even Monday, then there was a dinner party by the party. It was really considered they attend. The national chairman, the national leader was there, national chairman was there, Peter Obi was there. I think they say Kwansiyas was handling issues in Kano, he could not attend, but some of his people were there, where they appealed to everybody to say, look, this process might not be perfect because we had planned to even to go digital, you vote with your phone and all that. But because of the Electoral Act and the timeline we have to work with, that's why we went through all this. But don't be disappointed if eventually you don't scale through this or you don't get the tickets. Yeah. That they're going to create a data bank of everybody that was involved in that process, that collected expression of interest form, and they will be members of the presidential campaign team, that nobody will be left out. That, of course, when we win, there will be opportunity for people to serve in the government. Because they already knew your contributions. And how long some people that don't live in Abuja, they came here and spent almost a week. That was a huge drain on their resources. So they appealed to everybody to say, please don't take this like that. Don't be offended if you don't get nominated. But that we know who you are, we know where you are, you will get involved in electing the next president.
This question would have been to Serial Kedikson if I was sitting with him. Why do you want to contest for presidents and even field governors, when you are a 3-month-old or 4-month-old party, when you'll have just tested yourself, maybe at chairman level or governor, just at the state level, with a few states that you can control? Because this issue of collecting money in the name of development levy, when it's not a primary school or secondary school, that's why I used to pay for my daughter in some of the new schools she attended. It's going to create, how do you respond to it? Just, take a few, must you field the presidential candidate?
Well, I don't think they had a presidential candidate before Peter Obi and Kwansiyas came. So maybe it was not his intention then to go this big. Yeah. But that is why I will struggle with that assertion that nobody is doing NDC a favor. Yes, you can say that, because if they came to use your platform, you have done them a favor by giving them the platform. But with that came with the problem of the huge traffic, everybody coming to the party and all that. So that is what they are trying to manage now. So maybe it wasn't his intention to feed people at that level. But now you have ready-made politicians, people that can win election any day. Like people will tell you, if you combine the Kwansiyas votes in Kano and that of Peter Obi, and even the ones that were not added to Peter Obi would have been president today. If in 2022, Kwansiyas was the running mate to Peter Obi. That if you add all that votes together, he would have been the sitting president today. So if such people come with that huge followership, in how many weeks? Their server crashed severally. In short, a colleague of mine told me the server they were using later, he gave to them. Because they could not, talking about the registration to the party, they couldn't manage it.
Let me ask you about the Obidient and the Kwansiyas movement. Fanatical base of followership. Yeah. Cult-like followership. Worshipping at the feet of individuals. Kwankwanso, the Kwansiyas, Peter Obi, the Obidient. And these, groups, fanatical devotees, like I said, are not willing to be loyal or submit themselves or subsume themselves into the NDC architecture. Pretty much the Labour Party, pretty much the NDC before they became NDC. Isn't that a problem?
Well, it depends on how you see it. It might be because of their attachment. Because you look at the young people, they want a change. They want good governance. We should appreciate them for that. If anything, people criticize them for the way they respond to things and all. If young people are saying, we believe this is how the country should go, we like what we are hearing from this man. It's not just what we are hearing. He has antecedent to what he did before. So we believe this is the man that can lead us into our destiny in this country. They are not wrong. So it's that passion that they are showing. Same thing with the Kwansiyas. They are not the rich people in Kano. They are the people you call the Talakawas. So that's why you can see the passion. But the NDC, when you say the NDC, I think they're also struggling or trying to keep their own image. They look, this is NDC. This is not Kwansiyas. This is not Obidient. So everybody must fall into line. Yeah, I agree, because that's what I'm saying. It might be a good thing, because people come in like that and hijack the process and throw away the leader of the party. And that's why he's coming out to say, no, this is NDC. You came to meet me here. He might just be speaking the thoughts of the members. If they were 10, if they were 20, they were 50. That, look, watch it. Otherwise, these people will come and take this party and throw us out. So that's what he's voicing. But I think we will manage this over time. Kwansiyas people, yes, maybe they are very submissive to Kwansiyas, but the Obedients are not to Peter Obi. Because we begged most of them, just go register into NDC then. Even to Labour Party, most of them did not agree. Because we say there's going to be a primary election. We need your votes. Most of them don't want to listen. Now, till we are sure that they will give Peter Obi a ticket, how will he get a ticket if we are going to be a free and fair primary election? So they didn't listen. Most of them will tell you, I've seen one of them wrote something once, I think that was even in 2023, before the elections. Peter Obi was saying they should calm down. They say, one of them said, look, just leave us alone. You're not buying me my data. We just want you to dress up for the office. We will elect you and you go and resume and then do the right thing for this country. That's how passionate they are about the future of this country. So that's why most times I don't blame them. I've heard the national leaders say they should rein in their followers. It's not so easy for Peter Obi. But I'm happy. I saw Aisha Yusuf, I think in the video yesterday or the first day, they're saying, yes, we have a party, campaigns will soon start. Let's forget everything that happened in the past and all that. Aisha, it's not easy to talk to Aisha like that. Because these are people that, they have their beliefs. You know, the people in government are not the right people. We must take them out. And so for her to submit and say, we must work together, is a good thing. And I hope other Obidient and Kwansiyas will come around and also begin to address it like that. But if there's any tension, it's just that concern that this platform might be hijacked. So let's speak up so that they know that we're the ones that accommodated them.
Okay. One of the egregious errors we made, Nigerians generally, even the media, in 2022, 2023, was that we did not subject the candidates to deeper scrutiny, putting their feet to the fire, as it were.
Yeah.
What are your plans for this country? Who are you? So we had a candidate, Amaechi Tinubu, that did not speak to the media at all. And if he still found his way to become president, and we're living the after effects of that. Now, Peter Obi has been accused of a lot of things. But 3 issues. Number one, leadership. That he's weak. He cannot even rein in obedience. He cannot give them instructions and they listen to him. Rather, they are the ones dictating to him.
Two different things. These are, you say obedient members are more like volunteers. We have seen in Peter Obi qualities that can produce that, of qualities that can turn around this country if and when we make him the president of Nigeria.
Okay.
So this is their belief. Peter Obi does not control them. He doesn't have any
kind of a weakness.
No, it's not. Because, okay, like the kids, the young people now that are telling their parents back home, we want to vote for Peter Obi. They are volunteers. They come out to buy their own t-shirt and all that. If you go and, okay, that was something that Atiku said once, whether it was when he was talking to us or I even saw it on YouTube, that they went to Port Harcourt once for a campaign. And then by the time they got into the stadium was almost empty. And he asked Peter Odili, the then governor, where are the people? He said, they are gone. We paid them for 3 hours. And it's been over 3 hours. But Peter Obi will never pay anybody to come for rally. In his rallies, you don't see buses. I was in the PDP. We are usually told, okay, from your constituency, bring 5 buses. Multiply that by, we're talking about the Homer buses. Yeah. Bring 5 buses. People will come with placard and order. We pay people to carry placard. It used to be 5,000. Later, they will say if it's not 6,000 or 7,000, they will not go. You pay to carry them there, yeah, the transport, and then you pay them money just to raise that placard. Some will throw away the placard even after the rally. You need the placard for another rally. They throw it away, but they will collect their money. So Peter Obi won't do that. I remember in Nasarawa, I saw the Nasarawa state governor on television saying that they gave them one small place, one primary school field. They could not park it out. Who won Nasarawa state in presidential election? Peter Obi. Even in Rivers, I heard the then governor also said the same thing. That they wanted to give them the Adoke Amasamaka Stadium. They said it's too big. No, just give us a small one. They gave them Liberty Stadium, that's now called Yakubu Gowon Stadium on Stadium Road or Lekaya. Then they came there. They couldn't park it out. They had canopy of people on the pitch. These were organic followers. Nobody was paid to come there. People heard that Peter Obi was coming to town. They left their shops and left whatever they were doing to come there and listen to him. Not compared to the party in government that will pay people. Do they pay people? Yes, I know. We used to pay for people to come out so that you see the crowd. But Peter Obi won't do that. This country you're talking about is anger. We don't even want anybody that will control us. With the relationship I have with Peter Obi today, we spoke. For me, when I was in ADC, I wasn't planning to run. I wasn't. When he joined ADC, NDC, I sent a message to say, oh, I'm also out of the country, but absolutely I'm with you. I've resigned from another platform. I'm already here and all that. He called me and we spoke. That is how I became interested in running for the office. But I cannot sit down here and tell you that he didn't mention me to the national leader. But at the end of the day, it's the decision of the national leader to make concerning whether I get the ticket or not. But this is where I'm going to. When people say, he's not fighting for his people, he's not doing that. It's the same control we are talking about that most of these people have over those that were merged. Just allow the process. People accuse him of, okay, show us how many people he has made. His former commissioners, former advisors. Why should he make anyone? That's a corrupt process. If you are given a platform to work, work. If you earn it, take it to another level. So when you are a governor, you are giving land out. The man said when he was governor of Anambra, he never allocated one piece of land to himself. If I might just add this, I think that was the former, is it governor, I think in the 60s, or Kaduna, who said they applied for land, and then when was it the Director General or the Permanent Secretary brought the list, his name was not there. And he asked the guy, I applied for this, why is my name not there? And the man said, look, Renkedede, you are the approving authority. Your name shouldn't be there. And he took it like that. Yeah. That's what the 60. That's who Obi is today. And that's what Nigerians are yearning for.
Well, there's no debate about Obi's discipline, you know, as what's the word I'm looking for? Frugality, austere, you know, lifestyle. There's no question. Okay, so I posed the first question on his leadership competence, you know, ability to control, you know, well, maybe not control, but, you know, lay the law down. But second issue is this, that in all the, you know, questions people are asking, I summarize them into three. So the first one is leadership. Number two, Peter Obi said over the weekend, he was in Washington, and he said, no, he cannot know Nigeria's problem that until he's sworn in. Then he will tour Nigeria, all the states, like maybe 1 year, and then he will now be able to diagnose the problems. You know, we had a president in this country who won election in 2015 and spent 6 months taking notes from PAMSEX. Before the man realized what was going, he had wasted 8 years of his presidency. How do you respond to this?
Put it in context. It depends on what the question was and the context in which he gave that answer. Yes. Because people will tell you today, the only man that has been going around the country since the 2023 election is Peter Obi, going to higher institutions, supporting them from his personal resources, going to nursing schools and nursing.
Why is he saying he does not know Nigeria?
That's what I'm saying, is the context, because he knows the problem. He has even addressed the crowd to say, look, I am not one that sits down in one place or that will go to the villa and sit down there. I'm on the street. Even after electing me, I will still be on the street. So he knows the problem. He's been a governor. He knows. And he's still moving about. That's what I'm saying. It depends on the context in which he was answering that. But if anybody knows the problem of Nigerians today or Nigeria, it's Peter Obi. Because he's out there on the street. He goes to IDP camp. Some governors are fighting with him. You remember my governor said the time he said he should come into, when he made that statement, he should come, that the last time he came, how many people died? Did they die because people were shooting them? Because they are mass followers. People want to see him. And I said, don't come to our state anymore. If he was not going around, would they be saying, don't come to our state? So I don't think it's because he doesn't know. He knows. He's one president that will hit the ground running. I can tell you, before he's sworn in, he will have the list of his ministers and advisors ready for the National Assembly.
What do you see for 2027? What do you see? All this PRP, we have Donald Duke, ADC Atiku Abubakar, he has not nominated a VP. Of course, Peter Obi has Kwansiyas. Bola Tinubu, we're not sure because Daniel Bola sat here and I asked him, is he running with Kashim Shettima? He said no, that he cannot speak for the president until the president confirms. What do you think? Who stands the best chance? Don't tell me Peter Obi. Assess them. Who stands the best chance?
I heard that Atiku has nominated Rotimi Amaechi. But that would be a strong ticket. For Donald Duke, I don't know if he will be able to win any state. But you also have to look at what's on ground. Even his state, he's popular there. Because somebody told me that during the NSAS, you know, there were burning houses, that of Udoma Egba, that of Gershom Bassi, and so many. And then, when that started, he came out and addressed the youths. And they went in, they went to the houses. That's good. But was he able to deliver that state for any political party? I don't think so. So, I cannot sit down here today and tell you, Peter Obi won that state, if you remember, in 2023, that at best they will share the votes in that state, in Cross River. Same thing for Rotimi Amaechi. I don't see Rotimi Amaechi even as a running mate to Atiku, delivering River State to Atiku.
Why?
Because you have strong characters.
Amaechi was a former governor. two-term minister.
Yeah,
And he has massive support. And he did very well he did not just very well, fantastically well.
I know so. He started most of the dualization. I mean, I live in that place. And I have even told him this to his face, you know. But we are talking about today's reality. So I don't see how, that's what the last time I talked about, having a free, fair, and credible election. So it's difficult for us to really assess some of these things now, if we cannot have free, fair, and credible election. Ordinarily, if you leave it to all to fight in a level playing field, you allow it for a level playing field, he will not be able to outrightly win Rivers State. You know something about, somebody told me then that you did a lot while you were in the House of Reps. You did a lot. You had the scholarship, you had the foundation that was running for years before you were elected, and it kept running. In every home in your constituency, your notebooks enter, you enroll NECO for people, everybody. You are known by everybody. He said, but over time, people will begin to forget that. People have short memory span. They are thinking about today. He's been out of power in Rivers State, going to 12 years, 13 years, you say. So, or 11 years. So it's easy for people to forget some of those things. And it's not so easy to carry members or your supporters along for that long. That's what you talk about, the Obidient, whether Obi cannot rein them in. As long as you are not investing in them, you are not sending money for recharge card and the hospital bills, and it's not easy to carry them along. So most of them would have been wicked supporters today, and maybe other political parties. But we have a huge number of Igbos in Rivers State, huge number of them. If you allow them to even vote alone, it will go a long way. Besides the fact that you have other ethnic groups in Rivers. There are other Riverians or River State people that are obedient. I know of a lady in Rivers State in that 2023 election. She used to work somewhere that I know. And she said, where I registered, I don't live there anymore. It's my sister's place and all that. I don't have transport money to. I sent her money, more than enough, to stay. If you need to take care of yourself in your sister's house, and then vote, and then to return home. I don't vote in Rivers State. But that was just me encouraging somebody, and that's a Rivers State person, not an Igbo person. So Obi will still do well if they allow, if not win outright.
So you don't think Rotimi Amaechi now, on the ticket of the ADC, pairing with Atiku, will deliver South-South? Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Edo, Delta, Rivers, of course. You don't think so?
Just the way Okowa delivered it.
They are two different people.
He cannot.
No. Okowa's choice was a strategic blunder. On hindsight, even though some of us knew then, but at least now it was, because even by his personality, compare and contrast the personalities of these two individuals.
He cannot win Rivers State.
Okay.
I repeat that.
But I beg to differ with you, but let's leave that. Give us that. So, the other candidates.
Okay. So, who is going to vote for Atiku in the South? I don't see anybody voting for Atiku.
Are you serious?
That's true.
Atiku has widespread.
2019, we were articulated, because I was on ticket with him. We were articulated, and he won. But that sentiment is gone, has changed. The question people keep asking is, why him? He caused the trouble in PDP in the 2022 primary elections.
Did he?
Yes.
How?
Because in 2019, okay, let's even go back. This is not personal. I respect the man.
Yeah.
In 2015 or 14, you remember he walked away from in Eagle Square with some governors and all that. They went to join the APC as a new PDP.
Yes.
And then what happened? He contested the primaries with Buhari. Yep. Of course, Tinubu knew what he wanted because he was planning for today. And then they edged him out. Then he came back. That same party he removed from office with his men came back to the PDP. They gave him the ticket in 2019. Yeah, maybe he won that election. Because what was the argument then? There's a northerner there. So no southerner can take him out. So let a northerner go. But in 2022, that changed. Because then, remember, he chose Peter Obi as his running mate. And he got a huge vote from the South. Then, in 2022, I would have thought he would take the man he believed in, that worked with him, to say, okay, fine, you run, I will be the leader of the party, I will support you. He didn't do that. Now, it was zoning. He was supposed to be favored the south. He was supposed to go to the south. He still came out because of him, PDP refused to zone. I remember Dan Boala then was in APC. Say PDP, they don't have any other person outside Atiku. Atiku will get the ticket. That was before he got the ticket, and he got the ticket. That was when the PDP wahala or crisis started. Now he came to ADC. I'm sure you heard people mounting it. That is his party. He's the one that will get the ticket. True to type, he had gotten the ticket now. But this is again the time people are saying, just allow the South to finish their turn.
My brother, is it not unfair to say it's Atiku's party, he would always win? He squared off against two other prominent Nigerians, and they won the ticket. So are you not being, uncharitable to the man?
I wasn't the one that said that. Because by the time he was running, I had left the party. People kept telling us, yes, are you sure these people are wasting your time? They will not give Obi the ticket. It's Atiku that will get the ticket. It's his party. He's majorly behind the party and all. I mean, he's the promoter, so to speak. And that played out. So it did surprise me because people already said that. I was just hoping against hope that the man will get to a point when he will say, hey, I want the younger men to go. Then I will lead them. He never said.
Can anybody deny any man or woman, for that matter, to aspire for anything? It is left for the people to decide. Donald Trump is old. President Tinubu, some medical professor of medicine sat here and told me he's old, that we should add 12 years to his age. So, and President Trump, seems to be, the more he gets old by the calendar, the more he seems to be more energized, standing on his feet, answering questions from reporters every day, non-stop, doing interviews non-stop. Do you fault that? How do you argue against that?
It's not the same. I told you I read...
Does Atiku have any health issue that you know about?
No. See, age will naturally, it will come, we take its toll. If you don't sleep for 3 days now, on the 4th day, you'll be struggling to put a sentence together. But 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you can be awake for 4 days and you'll still be bouncing. People, the youth in my constituency do that. The last day of the campaign, when we are preparing for election, they start playing music in my compound. Then on the eve, into the election day, they will dance all through the night and say, okay, we'll go to the field. From the field, they will, after voting, they will escort it. Almost 3 days they are awake. But I can't do that today.
Let's round up on this.
Yes.
As we speak here, 90 or 95% of the candidates for presidency are from the southern part of Nigeria.
Yes.
All of them, presidential candidates, except Atiku, yes, from the north, standing alone from the north. How do you think all these guys from the south, who are going to splinter their votes, Tinubu APC will splinter his votes with Peter Obi from the southeast, Donald from the south-south, Adebayo Adewale from the southwest, Seyi Makinde from the southwest. I could go on, Omoyele Sowore from the southwest. All of them are going to, share these votes from them. Atiku alone is standing in the north. And the north, traditionally, has the bulk votes. How do you interpret this for us, or interrogate it?
Like that. How many votes can is it Sowore take from Tinubu? Okay. How many can the SDP guy, who I like him a lot? Yeah. How many votes can he take from Tinubu? Then talking about the south and the southeast. Again, let's emphasize it is a free and fair election that is not monetized. Peter Obi any day will win the southeast and the south. Any day. Yeah, maybe Tinubu can take some votes. Romi Amaechi, can take some votes. Yeah, if you say Makinde from the southwest can take some votes. But it will not scratch the surface. Then you talk about there's no homogeneous north. Now you have the middle belt. I'm not talking about so much of the north center, the middle belt. Those ones are not likely to vote for Atiku. You can talk about the core north. So if you take that, with the vote from the core north alone, see him through? No. Buhari had those votes. And people were even more energized then, because the same belief we have about Peter Obi was what they had about Buhari, that he's not corrupt and all that. But he could not cross the Niger till he had a handshake from Tinubu. So, Atiku not having votes in the south would disadvantage him, especially the fact that even the north, he can't get enough vote from the middle belt to win. So he might be the only person standing, but how many of those votes? Now you have Kwansiyas. Can you really tell me that Kwansiyas cannot deliver even Kano or Jigawa? If he doesn't deliver those states, the minimum he will take away from there is 25%. Peter Obi on his own will take 25% of the votes in Kaduna without even council. So your next president is Peter Obi, whether we like it or not. He is. I can see the roadmap. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president of Nigeria today, does not have a pathway to go back to the villa unless they do otherwise.
2 or 34 governors, senators, and reps.
Then, you see, let there be free and fair election. I said this in April when we had World Press Conference. You know, seven former members. That was in April. I said, look, these people should not truncate this democracy. And I said, we had G34 that went to see Abacha then. And they were largely people that later formed PDP, led by Solomon La and the rest of them. Say, look, we want civil rule, hand over to civilians. Organize an election, hand over to civilians. They went there, they gave him a letter. Nobody in APC today went with that group. So I'm saying, they did not fight for this democracy. Forget about what they claim other people did before. You know, I don't believe in what these things they said they did before. Because today they say they are Democrats. We can't see it. So what I said then is, before 1999, even 1999, what was their net worth? I said all this that day. Why I was saying it is, you had the opportunity to get to where you are today. Don't mess it up. Because I don't think any of them had anything close to $1 million then. I said in 1999, I know what I was doing. I had contract with 2 oil majors, IOCs, worth over $1 million. In 1999, I had a visa from China. I did not appear in the embassy. A staff of mine, who is the general manager in Total today, went to collect the passport with the visa from the CNPC, that's Chinese National Petroleum Company. The guy used to stay in Eco Hotel. Went to collect the passport with the visa stamped for me to go to China. I still didn't go because we're looking for rigs. I used to hear this guy, the former Minister of Communication or Information, Lai Mohammed, say in 2014 and 2015, that Nigeria was a pariah nation. It wasn't. We had an elected government. In 1998, 1999, we could not get rigs from America or from Europe. That's how we started going to China. So I'm saying this to say, I know what I was worth then. I know what I was doing then. These people, what were they doing then? What was their net worth? Okay. So if they had the opportunity, they had the country where they can become who they are today, don't mess it up for the younger people. Okay. Most of them were in their 40s, in their 30s. Look at where they are today. So allow for free, fair, credible election so that Nigerians will not decide who they will elect. And if you do that, we will not be having this conversation today. Okay.
The Atiku people will tell you that he will lock down. He has, not that he will, he already has Northwest locked down. That's the highest registered voters in Nigeria on INEC registered by data. Northwest, he has it on lockdown. He's from the Northeast, so he has that on lockdown as well. And that by the choice of Romi Amaechi, South-South, he would get at least 60% of the votes there. And then, of course, he will do well in the North Central. Is Atiku not home and dry?
He's not. Not nearly. He will not get vote from the South. The entire South. I'm telling you this.
Not even 25%.
He will not. Where? Which state?
Rivers State.
If there's free and fair election, where in Bayelsa? Maybe if there's free and fair election, yes, maybe he might get 25% in Rivers State, but he cannot win Rivers State.
Okay, let's...
He cannot.
We will interrogate this further, but final question. Yes. Just for the sake of argument, this conversation, assuming Peter Obi wins, against all the odds, as daunting as they are, he wins, becomes president. But then you have the same governors by all the parties, same senators, same reps, same civil servants. What changes?
Assuming he wins.
Yes, assuming he wins.
Everything will change.
By just one man.
Yes, because the governors, the man has said, as long as I'm on top, I am not taking, nobody will take. The greatest challenge we have now is the fact that when you have permanent secretaries leaving office and contesting for election immediately, nobody's respecting the Procurement Act of 2007. Nobody's respecting the, what's the other one now?
Code of Conduct Bureau or whatever.
They are not respecting any of those things. The Constitution is the ground norm, Section 1, Sub 1. But today they are not respecting, I try to remember the particular one, where you are supposed to spend what you are spending the budget on, quarterly you are supposed to report to a committee who will appraise what you have done. They are not following any of those things right now. Practically breaking the law. But you have somebody in Peter Obi, he has said repeatedly, because I will not take anyone that takes under me, not just be fired, will be prosecuted. So that can change everything. The last time I told you about, you saw the video about the El Salvador president. Who was talking about education. Yeah. Chief Awolowo said that so many years ago. Obasanjo was saying that out of school children. Pastor Chris Yakilome says, these children under the bridge now, if they are 10 years today, you add another 15 years to them, they'll be 25. 1999, when this Fourth Republic started, children that were born then are how old now? 27. So imagine they were 5 years then. They're about 32 now. The people, Boko Haram, all those military agitators, how old are they? So that's the challenge. So you will fix education from day one. Following just the SDG, he will fix education from day one. Fix health. We are talking about training institution for security agents. If you tackle all those things, you might not be able to solve the criminals today, like the El Salvador president said, those that have been raping people and are doing all that are over 20. You can't do much about it, but start with the younger ones today. And for Peter Obi, who's going to be a role model, you have heard him say, from when he was in higher institution, he was living in his house, he had a shop in school, year one, the car he drove, year two, the kind of car he drove, year three. So he's a trader. He knows how to account for every dime. The number one thing he will have for himself is accountability. That's the credibility he's taking to the villa. And if you have a head that knows where he's going to, and says, I'm not touching public funds, every other person will follow. That's how we can get the system. Okay, let me just quickly add, when we're talking about this terrorism thing. Chief Awolowo was jailed for terrorism act. But it was a political solution that the government brought him out. So,
because Chief Awolowo was not a terrorist, everybody knew. He never incited
anyone to do anything. You see, we talked about the law earlier. We talked about the law earlier.
The point is that I was making just like the Mohammed Abacha case. They are not similar because Chief Awolowo was a political frame. But back to the issue of Peter Obi before it escapes my mind. How is he going to deal with the National Assembly?
That's just more.
You know, he was impeached when he was governor.
Now, you see,
because he was not sharing the money.
Absolutely.
How will he deal with the National Assembly?
That's what the young people see in him. But when people keep talking about the Obedience are young people, they are not. I'm not a young person. I was a member of NEC, the highest organ of my political party, of my party, then PDP. But I saw these qualities in Peter Obi, and I started speaking up that I was supporting him. I became obedient. Professor Patutomi, he's one of the senior obedience we have.
Respected intellectual.
So there are so many of them like that, you know. So I will tell you, he will not be impeached because he will do the right thing. And you will, because of the mass following that will take him there, no National Assembly member will dare do otherwise. And I have said earlier, some of the things he will do, following the SDG, which he did in his state, when you take care of schools, take care of the health institutions, maybe have health insurance for elderly people and the young people, maybe to age 18, from 0 to age 18, free medical attention. And then from 60, they call them senior citizens, free medical attention. Then you fix this institution, not just giving them free. There will be, I brought a bill that says minimum standard in our health institutions. If you have all that and the public schools are well taken care of, you have teachers that are well paid and all, the pressure that the National Assembly members are going through now will vanish.
Nice place to anchor. We can go on and on, but there will be enough time to further interrogate, you know, the campaigns, when the campaigns start full blast, even the candidates and all of that. But it's been a pleasure, as always, having you, my brother, Honorable Sergius.
Thanks for coming. My delight, as usual. Thank you.
Thank you.